It's time for the hurling team of the week, the last one that we'll see this year in the Inter-County Championship, of course, now that Limerick have been crowned All-Ireland champions and Joe McDonagh champions are Antrim. So we'll start off in the goals, and I don't think it'll be too much of a surprise to anyone to see Nicky Quaid named between the sticks. He was sensational in the final. Didn't have too many unbelievably difficult saves to make, but he dealt with anything that came his way. I think Stephen Bennett tested him out once or twice, Caleb Lyons from distance, Desi Hutchinson the same. And generally, he dealt with what was put in front of him. He was absolutely brilliant on the puckouts, as he so often is. So Nicky Quaid, I do feel that Stephen O'Keefe had a very, very good game, but I think I just about go with Quaid just because his consistency is so good. And of course, in the Antrim game against Kerry, Ryan Elliott and John B. O'Halloran, they both had good games as well, so that must be mentioned. The full back line, I'm going to go with Sean Finn, Dan Morrissey and Conor Prunty. Now, he could have looked in other directions, like Barry Nash probably feels a small bit hard done by. He had a very good game. I think Ian Kenny did quite well, obviously taken off laterally because of the yellow card, so I suppose that would count against him. And like, fair enough, he held Graham Mulcahy scoreless before he was replaced. And Conor Prunty's man, Aaron Gillan, got 4 points from play. But it's just the ball that Prunty won against the head, and the difficulty level of the task with the ball going into a man who is a massive sharpshooter, a good ball into space. I think Prunty more than broke even. You'd have to say that Dan Morrissey protected the square very well, where it's blocking down shots, putting up a physical barrier, driving out with a ball. So often over the years, ends up with this curious thing of some of the best players or really high performers ending up holding the ball in their hand as the final whistle goes. I remember in particular Tommy Walsh in 2009 when he was man of the match in that All-Ireland final. He was the man with the ball in his hand when the final whistle went, and Dan Morrissey was here. I think he was really, really good. Sean Finn kind of goes without saying. Do you even need to explain? Just another powerful performance, whether it's block downs, bursting out, winning balls that he's no right to win. He just is a top defender at this stage. There's no question about it. Now, half back line, Diarmuid Burns, Iarla Daly and Kyle Hayes. Now, I suppose there will be eyebrows raised that Iarla Daly, he didn't even start the game, but he came on for Taig de Burka after 21 minutes. And given the size of the task for a young player to come in and perform as he did, a couple of spills, no doubt about it, but performed really, really well against a line that was fairly much getting dominated by Limerick, because Gerard Hegarty and Tom Morrissey were so on top. But I thought Iarla Daly did quite well. There was a couple of other good half-backs between the couple of games. Paddy Burke and Jared Walsh I thought did okay, and Michael Lane I thought did quite well for Kerry as well, Michael Lane. Midfield then, Diarmuid Burns I suppose and Kyle Hayes, again, probably goes without saying, two scoring wing backs who just drives their team forward, so no real doubt that they were going to be in the team. Owen Campbell I thought had a very good game for Antrim in the middle of midfield, and Will O'Donoghue, just a powerful player, and Limerick did edge that area, and shutting down Jamie Barron, who's obviously a brilliant player, has had a great year and will be in the All-Star conversation, but to win that sector you're probably going to have to give somebody on Limerick the nod for team of the week, and I think Will O'Donoghue stood out just a little bit more than Darragh O'Donovan, but both of them did quite well, and they won that zone of the field. Half forward line, Gerard Hegarty, 7 points from play, kind of goes without saying that he was always going to get into this team. Niall McKenna was the guy who absolutely stood up for Antrim when things were a little bit kind of dicey early on in the second half in particular. He scored a couple of points, and I just thought he had a fine performance, so he was never in doubt to get into my team of the week. And Tom Morrissey, he was creating, he was winning ball, he was turning Waterford over, he was scoring 5 points from play. Another absolutely brilliant performance from the Ahan man, and he's a shoo-in for an All-Star, and I'm a bit undecided whether he should be Hurler of the Year or Gerard Hegarty, but there's not too much in it, and I'd like to know people's opinion on that, because I think Morrissey was the guy who stood out more than most in the tightest game of the year, and that was against Galway in the semi-final, and that stuff should matter. Aaron Gillan gets full forward, Aaron Gillan gets corner forward, Austin Gleeson full forward, and Seamus Flanagan with the number 15 jersey. Obviously all those guys rotate a bit, albeit Flanagan or Gillan stays close to goal nearly the whole time. But 5 points for Austin Gleeson, that includes a sideline and a free from his own half when required, and three really good points. Had a couple of wides, but he did take the game to Limerick in a way that so few of his teammates could. Aaron Gillan knocked over his frees and of course got 4 brilliant points from play, and a couple of them the difficulty level was incredibly high off his right hand side. We know he's so good off his left hand side, but a couple of brilliant ones off his right hand side, and I think he's improved that side of his game. And Seamus Flanagan, he knocked over 3 points. Absolutely sensational stuff again. So he got into my team of the week. There's probably a few others you could have looked at, but that's why I went with it. So that's the team of the week on Our Game, brought to you by Sullivan Slattery Insurances in Nina. Call 067 56705 and you'll get 10% off new business quotes with our reference Our Game.